How are you guys? Active Aussie back again with a brief video. Just had a bit of a technical issue at the end of the last video. I just wanted to mention that another group of people who need to be wary are those who criticise the cultural Marxism which is going on within our universities, and also anybody who is criticising the CCP, the Chinese government in Western countries. And some of you Australian guys might remember, and this was a few years ago, that student Drew Pavlu, I think his name was, he was a supporter of the Hong Kong pro-democracy movement, and he basically just got grilled and crucified by the UQ administration for speaking out, and he would have been in really deep shit if it wasn't for people like Pauline Hanson, the senator, and broadcasters, or the former broadcaster Alan Jones. So he's just one example, but I just wanted to point that out. And Infinium briefly talked about his education background and his degrees in the podcast, and I'd agree with him that, like, back in his era, he's quite a well-educated guy. You had to actually earn your degrees, and you had to do a lot of hard work, and the universities were actually of a high, very high standard and a high caliber. But now, in many aspects, in many regard, they are just becoming a joke. And that's like here in Australia, some of these unis like UQ, University of Sydney, MU, Melbourne University, they used to be very outstanding universities. Flinders, there's lots of others as well. But now the quality is just in serious decline. I think a lot of this has also to do with the very large numbers of foreign students. The universities have just become like a money-making machine, and the standards have really dropped. I'm not a very well-educated guy myself. My background is in construction, and my first job or jobs were in the catering industry, restaurants, and I also worked in the fashion industry for a few years in women's retail. So that's sort of my background. But my ex-wife was a so-called well-educated woman, and she actually was quite well-educated and did earn her degrees back in her day in the medical field. She had a BA and an MA, and she was in the process of getting a PhD whilst we were still married, which did in a way contribute to our divorce, but it was not the only reason. But I knew quite a lot about UQ, the University of Queensland, back in the mid-late 90s and early 2000s, and I knew quite a few Malaysian Muslims who studied there. Some of my ex-wife's relatives had studied there as well, so I knew quite a lot about that institution. But now it's 2024 and things are much different, as we all know. So this society is becoming very dystopian in many ways, and scary to some extent, especially for guys like myself and other guys within the manosphere, the red pill community. Those guys, us guys who are genuinely wanting to make a difference, trying to make a difference, and I just feel things are going to get a lot worse. I still appreciate many things in my life, although, as you know, I've still got the low-level cancer and a few problems, and I've suffered from depression quite a lot, but I'm still very grateful. I've got my mother and my sister and my dog and a few friends, but generally speaking, I really think the USA, the UK, Australia, lots of places in Europe, and maybe some guys in South America would agree too. Our societies are just really in decline, going down the chute. It's really a shame. That's about all. Maybe it's a bit of a pessimistic video and a bit depressing, but it is what it is. I'll hopefully talk to you tomorrow sometime. Cheers.